Okay. All right. Welcome, Wright County Senior Providers Network. Hope everybody's doing good today, and you have your coffee and you're ready to sit back and enjoy some good conversation. How we usually start out is introducing ourselves, talking about who we are, what we do, what services we provide to Wright County. So I'll go ahead and get started, and then I'm going to pick on someone next, whoever shows up on my screen first. And then Joe is going to give us all the information about senior community services, what they have to offer and what they bring to Wright County. So we'll hear from him a little bit later. My name is Courtney Lotzer. I work for Linkage and Parkview Senior Health and Living. What we offer at Linkage and Parkview is assisted living. We have a care center with skilled nursing and a TCU unit. So we have both of those at both places. And then over at Parkview, we have memory care and assisted living and the care center. And we also have an adult day center over at Parkview as well. I sometimes forget to mention the adult day center, but they do some amazing work over there. They have transportation. They have full programming all day. It's a really awesome place for seniors to go if they're looking to just connect with other people, have a fun day, not sit at home all day and be isolated. It's a really, really good program. So if you guys ever want any more information on that, let me know. You can always go tour it too if you want to. I'm always here to help if you have any questions or any referrals or just anything in general. So that's me. I'm Courtney Lotzer. So I'm going to pick on Eric next.
I always get picked on.
I know, can't help it.
Most of you already know me. I'm the Aging Services Program Director Manager for Wright County Community Action. And I actually just had a meeting with Ben yesterday and working on, right now, our organization's working on finding an executive director. We do not currently have one. So that process is going on and hopefully we'll have somebody before the end of the year. That's what we're aiming for. So
you tell us like what kind of criteria you're looking for, like experience, like what type of person are you looking for this position?
You mean for the organization here?
Mm-hmm.
Well, so Wright County Community Action is a CAP agency. So we're like a lot of other community action programs. TRICAP is one that most of us are familiar with. It serves multiple counties. Wright County Community Action only serves one county. And so we're like ANOCA in that regard. ANOCA only serves one county, I believe, as well. But the person's essentially kind of the CFO of the organization in a sense. They're the person that's going to be responsible for leadership with regards to the financial and budgeting for the organization. And we have 7 or 8 major programs here. We have WIC and we have Head Start, energy assistance. We have weatherization programming. We're just restarting our housing program, which was kind of on hiatus and hold for almost a year. And we just hired someone this week. And so the executive director really is kind of the person that's tying all these different silos together, because most of the programming we have here are essentially separate budgets and separate staff. There's a bit of overlap in terms of what the staff provides. So some people do different jobs within different programs. And so the person's really, I think really, to be honest, is somebody that's more like a CFO of the organization. They need to understand the financial obligations and whatnot. So we've been tasked really with, as an organization, with serving individuals who are low income. So it's essential for this person to be able to find the money and understand how to make sure it gets allocated to the programs in a way that helps support their endeavor to give people a leg up. And most of the clients that we serve in the aging program are low income. I mean, I would say probably predominantly they are. So so that's really the focus of that individual, is to make sure they can support the fiscal and financial obligations of the organization to its programs.
I had a question. You said you started back up the housing program. Tell me about that.
Well, housing had a problem with funding. So one of the issues that we faced was being able to afford to pay someone to provide services for individuals facing foreclosure. And so that was a major hurdle. We didn't have funding for that last year, and this year we do. So that individual is responsible for really providing some education and resources for individuals who are either trying to buy a home for the first time and don't know really how to do that, or who are facing foreclosure or even eviction from their apartments, with some resources. So I imagine the partnerships will continue that housing has with Salvation Army and some of the other organizations in the town, community, United Way, places like that, who are willing to provide some assistance to make sure that that we're doing what we can to keep people in their houses. So that's their primary objective right now is foreclosure prevention.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Does anybody else have any questions for Eric? Okay, Ben, I'm going to pick on you next.
Okay, well, good morning, everybody. My name is Ben Biker. I think I know most folks on the call this morning. I'm from the Central Minnesota Council on Aging, and we are one of 7 area on aging in the state. We provide our service area is 14 counties. Our furthest west county is Stearns County. Our furthest south county is your county, Wright County. We go all the way up to Cass County, and then to the east to the Wisconsin border in Pine County. Some of the things that we do, some of our primary tasks, our fundamental tasks are we provide grant management and administration for older adults. These are for programs for older adults, and there's a number of our grantees on the call this morning also. So we're happy to see you there. We also provide some direct services. We provide the senior linkage line. We staff the senior linkage line, which I'm sure you heard of, and they're extremely busy now. It's all hands on deck with the Medicare time, the Medicare enrollment time. So that's where they're spending a lot of their time right now, as you have probably heard from others. We also provide some other direct services in terms of helping people relocate from the nursing home. If they are a candidate to go home again and they have a home, we have staff that will help them relocate, work with the nursing homes and with other community providers. I am on the community development team. There are 3 of us, I should say. My primary counties are the central counties, Stearns, Benton, Sherburne, and Wright County. That's where I spend most of my time. I am involved in efforts involving aging services, focusing on transportation, housing, as we just talked about. Affordable housing is certainly always a priority. Transportation is always ranks up number 1 on a lot of our needs assessments. So I'm involved in transportation efforts. Certainly homelessness for older adults is an increasing theme that we are concerned about. The last 2 years, our agency has focused a lot on food security, food support. During the pandemic here, we know that everybody's lives have changed, but for older adults who were particularly more vulnerable, they were at risk for isolation, loneliness. So food support, making sure they had the basics, food support. And again, we work with a number of partners such as yourself. We also provided a number of opportunities to socially connect with older adults. And a lot of that was through a virtual means. And I think Joel will maybe talk a little bit about that later, some of the efforts we've got going there. So Yeah, so that is the Council on Aging. And lastly, I will report that at the end of the year, I will be retiring. I will be joining that group of retirees. I'll be trying that out. So this is probably the last, well, I should say in January, I will probably be bringing my replacement around to some of these meetings. I'm going to stick around for a few months. We're working on some specific projects, but my full-time position will be done at the end of the year.
That's exciting. So what are you going to do in retirement? What's your plan?
What am I going to do? Well, we're also to complicate matters more. We're moving. We are moving right now. We're closing on December 3rd. So I'll have some additional land. We're moving to St. Joe, out by St. John's.
Beautiful area. Beautiful.
Yes, it is. So we're excited about that. I've got 12 grandchildren too. So they're all involved in sports. And so, yeah, I think I'll have plenty to do.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will. You're going to be a super retiree, I have a feeling.
Yep.
That's awesome. Okay, I'm going to pick on Kathy at the Glen next, if you're ready.
Ready. Let me just figure out this camera thing here. I can turn it back on.
Yeah, you're doing good.
There I am.
There you go.
All right. Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Kathy, and I work here at the Glen, Buffalo. This is my second meeting, so I'm kind of new still. I just started the marketing position probably about 3 months ago now. So it's going good. I've learned a lot. I love it. I love meeting the new families and having them come in and just chat with them and kind of get on their level, so just been kind of keeping busy doing tours. We staffing wise, we're a little short. So we're kind of just moving people in on case by case basis here. We have assisted living and the memory care over by the Perkins area over there.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, I'm just here to kind of learn and listen.
Yeah. That was going to be one of my questions for you is about openings, because staffing is an issue for everyone, unfortunately. Everybody's trying to get creative, but it is what it is.
And right now, I think we've had a few staff members out with COVID. So then, we have our activity girl. She's actually been out this week and half of last week. So again, kind of filling in there in the meantime, doing activities and stuff, which is kind of nice.
Though. Yeah.
Because I'm like, I love doing it every once in a while. I don't think I could do it every day, but once in a while. And then I don't have to follow the budget so much. So I can just go spend some of my administrator's money. Fun. It's great. So otherwise, we're having a lot of fun over here. With the holidays coming up, we're kind of looking forward to that. Unfortunately, I don't think families will be able to come in, and celebrate with us. But we're just hanging in. We're just hanging in over here. Just kind of, learning it all. So
I hear you. All right, Heather Brooks, are you ready? Awesome. There you are.
Hello, good morning, everyone. I apologize. I'm on my phone this morning, so I was having some tech issues with my computer, but it's so good to see you all. So I'm Heather with AmeriCorps Seniors RSVP. I think I know almost everyone on this call, but we have a volunteer program for those that are over the age of 55 and just connect older adults to different nonprofits, government entities, and licensed healthcare facilities in Stearns, Benton, Sherburne, and Wright County. And I specifically oversee Sherburne and Wright County. So good to see everyone.
Good to see you too. Your hair looks really cute. I feel like you did something to it. Did you? It looks good.
I did actually dye it. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, Melinda, you're last up.
All right. Hello. Hi. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Long time no see.
I know.
We've been all so busy and time. I don't know what happened to time, but we're in November and December. So
Thanksgiving next week. What's going on? It's crazy.
Before you know it, we'll be writing, 2022 instead of 2021. It's just nuts.
Totally.
So I'm Melinda Carter. I'm Director of Sales and Marketing here at Havenwood of Buffalo. We have independent, assisted living, memory care, care suites, which is a 1-to-5 ratio for higher acuity. And we also have some respite if room is available. So lots of things always happening here. We still have a waiting list for 1-bedroom and larger, but we do have, I want to say, 2 studio apartments available for anyone that doesn't need assistance or those that do need assistance. And then we have 1 memory care available. So I love to provide tours to anyone. I still would love to tour some of your areas over there. Let me know. Love to check it out and provide referrals as well.
Yeah, that sounds good. We'll have to coordinate that for sure. Everybody else should too, for sure, for sure. And my favorite people, Theresa and Barb, I almost forgot you. You can go next if you're ready. Barb, you want to go?
Sure.
Okay. Cool.
I'm Barb Anderly. I work with the Caregiver Support Services with Theresa. And for those of you that haven't heard yet, our program is ending at the end of the year. It's a long, long story, and I'll just tell you the upside of it. I am also retiring, and well, I don't know if I'm retiring. Let me take that back. Our program is ending in December. We are going to sell our house, and we've got our home started in the Brainerd area. So we're moving to Brainerd by spring, and if I continue to work and do this program, Lutheran Social Services is in that Brainerd area, but maybe I'll decide to go work in a fabric store because I love to quilt. So
You would
we'll see
love
what
that.
happens to our future.
You'd be super
All I
good.
know for sure is that our program is ending and I'm moving to Brainerd.
Brainerd's lucky to have you.
That'll be fun.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Do you mind if I bring my tent
Well, I'm
up there
Theresa.
sometime? Go ahead.
You know, you don't even have to bring your tent. We have a pop-up camper and we have a fish house that we used for our guest house right now.
Nice.
So-
We do need to talk about that more. That would be so fun. That would be so
That
fun.
would be fun.
Mhm.
That might be girls' weekend in Brainerd.
As long as you don't mind if I bring a little boy.
no,
As long as you're cool
No.
with that.
oh,
Jax would be welcome. He would love it.
I think you would too. He'd just pick up sticks and put them in his mouth all weekend, I'm sure.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he'd be picking up pine cones and
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of fun stuff.
Be fun. Yeah.
well, I suppose I'm last, huh?
Mm-hmm. Saving the
but
best for
not least.
last.
Yeah, I'm Theresa Henson. Like Barb said, we work for Caregiver Support Services. I'm also a volunteer coordinator with our program. And yes, we are sad that our program is coming to an end. We've served lots of people over the last couple of years, even through the COVID and the pandemic. Learning how to serve people in different ways has really been a positive for us. And I think we've gotten through that, you know, it feels like we can do anything now. So I'm not sure what's next for me. In February, it'll be my 35th year in healthcare. So I'm not sure what's next for me. I'm just going to take kind of a step back and be with my grandkids and I don't know, see what happens, I guess, clean out another closet. I'm not real sure. And then see what happens from there. I'm still passionate about care for seniors and I still believe in this program. So we'll see what's next. So
Absolutely. I can't wait to see what's next too.
mhm.
It's going to be good. It's going to be real good. Okay, I wanted to do a couple of announcements before Joe did his presentation today. I don't know how much you guys are following this, but the Buffalo Community Center is picking up steam. How much do you guys know about that?
Well, they did a renovation, outside
Yeah, this is
renovation.
brand new though. So there's a big group of people. I don't know how big the group is, but they're really organized. And it seems like they're doing a really good job and checking all the boxes. But what they're thinking, what their vision is, is to convert the old
Oh,
courthouse
Fire.
into a rec center. So it would be right there on Buffalo Lake. It would have a really nice senior center in there. So the
Nice.
location's amazing. They have a really good vision. They are talking about doing a referendum, if that's what you call it, and they're very upfront about that, about what the tax increases would be, which they compared it to like one night at a wild game a year, basically, is what your increase in taxes would be. So that's kind of how they're communicating it out. But I just want to keep you guys in the loop about that. They do have a newsletter that I think goes out weekly. And that can bring you up to speed on everything going on over there. With that senior center portion, I think that, I mean, I don't know what our level of involvement could be, but I think it would be good for us to be involved in. I think we would have a lot of good things to contribute to that. So yeah, if you want to join that e-newsletter, you can stay up to speed on what's going on there. And I mean, it's going to be a long process. I mean, I have no idea how long something like that takes. I mean, they would have to get the funding approved. Nobody else would snatch up the courthouse first. I mean, there's just a lot of things that would have to happen in order for the community center to be built. But I wanted to let you guys know about that. And then I have an announcement of an event that we're going to have this spring on May 21st. It's called the Active Generations Expo. It's going to be at the Civic Center, and I feel like everybody on this call would probably want to participate. So I will put you on the list as a vendor, sponsor, whatever you want to do. We are going to have educational sessions as well. So if you guys wanted to be speak to that, you definitely could. But I will keep you posted. So it's just really the update on the date. So it's May 21st, if you want to mark your calendar. I think it goes from, do I have my times there? No, I don't. It's like 10 to 1 or something like that, I think is what the times are, but we'll have a free breakfast, which will be really fun. So basically, I'm just going to spend this winter working on that because it's going to be an undertaking. So if you guys have any ideas on how to make it better or what we should provide Wright County at this senior expo, I'd definitely love to hear your feedback and implement that if possible. But it should be really fun, and I hope it's super successful, and it's something we do for years to come. That's our goal, so it should be good. Yeah, so does anybody else have any announcements before Joe starts? All right, Joe, it's all you.
Well, you had your chance to get your delay what I was about to say here, but anyway, so I've done something fancy with my hair too. I washed and combed it. So
nice, it looks great. Looks great.
And I, just want to thank Ben and Barb and Theresa for everything they've done here in the area for a long time. I'm relatively new to senior services compared to some of the others, and the experience for me has been great. And having those three in particular, bounce things off of, communicate with, things like that. It's just been awesome. So kudos to all of you, and we'll miss you, for sure. So I guess, I don't know, let's go from there, I guess, enjoy it wherever the ship is about to take you, I guess. I'm excited about the Buffalo Community Center. That's really exciting news. I hope that I was curious about that because I knew the building was up for sale, but I didn't know who was going to take it or what the deal was going to be.
Yeah, that's what they really wanted. And the location, I mean, it's perfect because
it's
just
absolutely
with all the
perfect,
senior
yeah.
living downtown, I mean, I think it's perfect. And a lot of people do utilize the current community center, but it is smaller, and I feel like it might bring more seniors, to be able to be together and do more things together. But their programming at our current community center is great. I love it. I think they provide an awesome service, but I mean, this community is really growing, and we got to be ahead of that. And
right, and I think they've done what they could with the current facility.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
and
yeah,
they're very
Buffalo
passionate and love what they do, and it just it's awesome.
Now we'll put a facility around them to match their enthusiasm, right?
Yes, exactly, exactly.
Okay, well, my presentation today, we're going to do it as a kind of like a funnel. So I'm going to start my slideshow here. Hopefully everybody can see that here. But I wanted to give a general overview of senior community services completely. So hopefully everybody can see the whole screen here. Yes, no, maybe?
Yep, looks good.
Okay. So we've got the home program, and that's where I live. We do basically chore services. We provide some caregiver support to Becky Allard. in this region. We have our online care tool or care coordination tool, careconnection.org, and we'll be visiting that a little bit later in my presentation. We also offer what we call Medicare Partners, which is that last 20% of Medicare. It's to assist folks in a certain income bracket in the lower end of that with some of those costs. It's like a one-time fee. It's really a great program. And then we're, of course, affiliated with 2 senior centers in the area, the Monticello and Crow River Senior Center. But with that said, obviously work with Terry and Sue over in Buffalo too, as much as we can. But those 2 senior centers are direct affiliates, and their directors are employees of Senior Community Services. Okay, so let's see here. See if I can get it to advance. There we go. So if we come down one more level, like I said, I live in the home program. And in general, this is kind of where we live. We do, the minor repairs, the outdoor chores, the housekeeping. We do some painting and a couple other tasks. But here's our basic core services and our service area as of right now. So we, again, the housekeeping, the repairs, the painting, the lawn cutting, snow removal is really big right now. I'm still looking for some snow shovelers. So if anybody knows anybody that's willing to make $20 an hour anytime it snows, please send them my way. Tech support, which is our new service line out here in Wright and Sherburne counties, and that's what I'll be mostly focusing on with this presentation. And then, of course, we offer a variety of volunteer services as well, mostly fall and spring, but we do go all year long with different things that we do. We serve Albertville, Big Lake, Buffalo, Elk River, Hanover, Monticello, Otsego, and we just got a Live Well at Home grant to expand into Rockford and Rogers, and we've been in St. Michael since the program started. So we're kind of excited and kind of holding our breath at the same time to get into those new service areas. It's all about, like Courtney had said earlier, the employment piece of it, making sure that we have service providers first that can provide these services before we go advertising a whole lot of stuff. But we can take folks in those 2 areas now too. So now we're going to drill down to just the technology piece, and we do have some key funding partners that made this all happen. We did a pilot program from July 1st, 2020 to July 1st, 2021, and that was funded by a Live Well at Home grant through the state of Minnesota, which was awesome way to kick the tires and just see, is this going to work? Is it not going to work? Allianz has been a key funding partner for Senior Community Services in a multitude of different ways, but in this particular arena, they've donated a lot of money for us to kind of help close the circle on everything that we do with tech. Help pay for some website design development and some iPads for the senior centers that people can use or check out or attend events with. The city of Plymouth, I know that that's not relevant to folks on this call, but I just wanted to highlight that because we are extending this service now into Hennepin County, and the city of Plymouth has funded us to be in their city in particular because they really liked what we were doing out in Wright County and wanted to be part of the deal. They realized that the county funding level wasn't there yet, so they put forth their own funds. And we did get a really generous grant from Wright County itself to continue this tech support once our funding agreement with Live Well at Home terminated at the end of June, first part of July. They gave us funding to continue this service for the next 3 years at least. So we're super excited about that and really happy to have them on board. And there's some guidelines that they've given us for the content they'd like to see and things like that. So starting in January, February, we're going to pay more attention to presentations, fraud, things like that, on safe online usage for seniors, and do more in-person and virtual events for education purposes. So if anybody in this group has an idea for something you'd like to see a presentation on or anything like that, please give me your thoughts and be happy to see if that works. And if there's a location you want us to be at, we're happy to go there too. And the Wright County United Way, of course, has given us a little bit of funding too for what we're doing. So we'll go back to the beginning. Actually, I was sitting in the Buffalo Community Center when I was typing up my request to have the senior leadership look at this. But we wanted to create a new support service to provide assistance with every type of technology that you could possibly find in your home, not just your smartphone or computer. And the thought was twofold: was to reduce the isolation feelings by having assisting people with getting online, have them feel connected as and part of the digital world, like we're all doing right now. It's kind of a foreign platform for a lot of folks that didn't grow up with technology, and that's what really made us focus on this is that we have an entire generation that didn't grow up with any of this stuff at all. I mean, they're lucky to have a calculator, kind of thing. When maybe they were in their 40s or something like that. So there's some challenges there on both sides of it, but there's no reason that they can't be included in that. And then the other objective was to bridge that digital divide between generations. Make it easier for folks to communicate with their sons, daughters, grandchildren, other organizations that might have younger members, things like that. So basically, I was camped out in the St. Michael Grover Senior Center, and my office door was always open, and I'd have a lot of folks just kind of come by and just say, "Hey, I hear you're a computer guy. Can you help me out with A, B, C, D, E, F, G?" And so A, B, C, D, E, F, G quickly grew into the entire alphabet, and then some more numerical characters and things like that after that. So, it's like, okay, there's something here, right? And so that's where the light bulb kind of went off of hey, let's look at maybe offering this not only as a like a walk-up service, but also in the homes, because that's where a lot of these problems are probably going to be, or the connections that we're going to need to make, or whatever corrections we need to make to their technology to get it in the homes, and that's what makes us unique. So we, like I said, I was sitting in the Buffalo Community Center, did my lean startup proposal in early 2020, and it was approved shortly after. And then we got, like I mentioned before, the Live at Home funding, and from the city of Plymouth to do our pilot service. So for the first 6 months, we did everything for free. And then the second 6 months, we had a small fee associated with the in-home visits to see if people would pay, and they did. And ironically enough, it totally coincided with the entire world being shut down due to COVID. So I guess in a strange way, the timing worked out to our favor. I hate to almost say it that way, but that's really it was the perfect storm. In all honesty, to really get this service out there and have people really need it and demand it. So we needed to figure out, okay, now we know what we want to do. We have some funding. How are we going to do this? Right. So for me, the most important thing was to decide what we were not going to support, believe it or not. And then look at okay, what's left on the table? What will we support? So basically defining our service levels. And then, what is it going to look like? We obviously recognize that free or low cost support was something that was going to be not only popular, but mandatory with, the people that we serve, because there's just a demographic of folks that really, income is a challenge. And so we wanted to make sure that that was not a barrier to getting support or getting assistance with anything related to their technology. And so we, wanted to also bring it into the senior centers. So because we're affiliated with two, decent senior centers in the area, we thought what a great, place to put volunteers. So we recruited volunteers that, had some tech savvy, and it was interesting when we were recruiting, because some of our volunteers were like, well, I'm not a tech person. I've never worked in the computer or IT, area in my work. And it's like, okay, do you know how to turn on a cell phone? Do you know how to, launch an app on a tablet? Do you know how to log into a Windows machine? You're qualified, basically, because a lot of the questions that were very, easy questions to me, but, difficult things for people. It's the little things, that really make a big difference for folks. So that was really fun. The recruiting process actually is really fun. And now we've had really great success reaching more people that want to help out with tech. It's a little harder sell to get somebody to volunteer for shoveling snow than it is to do technology. And we've got volunteers now that are range in age from mid 30s all the way up to 80 years old. That are willing to help us out and are going to help us out. There's a gentleman in St. Michael who's turning 80, and he's going to do an educational program for how to use an iPad. We found that the peer-to-peer response is very positive, right? Somebody, kind of similar in age or similar in how they look, or talk, or, their life experiences really is important for people. They, really like that. They engage really easily and well with people of their same age and demographic. And then, of course, we had to figure out when do we need to hire people, and what are we going to charge, and all that kind of stuff. And that's the phase we're in now. I do have one gentleman that doubles as not only a handy person, but we also call him our digital handy person. And so anytime we get a work request for something in the home, we send it to him first. And then if it's something that's a little bit out of his wheelhouse, then I'll go myself into the home and provide those services. I was a network administrator for several years and owned my own tech support business for 3 years and sold that. That was a lot of additional phone calls I didn't really need to get on top of web development. But anyway, so and then we had to put it into action, right? So we got all the pieces in place. Now what the heck do we do, right? So we did phone support immediately for people. We found a wide variety of different needs. One of my, I guess, favorites, it's kind of a weird way to say it, but as soon as the pandemic came around, there was a gal, and this is actually right before we got our funding. We knew the funding was coming, but we didn't have it yet. And she was communicating with somebody in the metro area that was about to sell her a laptop that was almost 10 years old for over $800. And we made a couple phone calls and found a much better solution for her, something local. And I'll at the bottom of the slide here, you'll see our partnership with TechMate. So we did call TechMate, and they found a solution for her. It was almost a brand new machine, but it was used, and it was less than $500. And they gave her a free memory upgrade, and things like that. So that was, from that phone support, that was one of those, like, we totally helped that person out. The computer she was about to get would have been worthless, as soon as she got
Yeah,
it
that's
home.
really cool. Shame on that person trying to sell a 10-year-old computer for $800.
Don't even get me started.
Shysters.
Yeah, but okay, so we've done a lot of consulting too over the phone, with like, what kind of internet should I get? Is my internet fast enough? Things like that. So anyway, so then, our funding did start, like I said, July 1st, 2020. We immediately offered the in-person support at the senior centers. It was me doing it, but it's like, all right, let's see, let's gauge the weather here, see what we got. And then in-home too, and, gloves, masks, the whole 9 yards. A lot of safety precautions there going into homes at that time. It was very scary, atmosphere, and the vaccinations weren't even available then and things like that. So, a lot of caution with that. And then again, we did the paid pilot starting January 1st, and we continued the free, and then we've kind of diverged that way, and we've kept it that way. We do the phone and the in-person at the senior center support for free, and then when we go to the home, that's where the charges come into play. Anybody who is extremely low income, that bottom level of our sliding fee scale, we don't charge them at all, even if it's in the home, because we realized that, again, don't want cost to be a barrier to getting or asking for support. I got a frequent flyer up in Monticello. He's one of my favorite people, and he'll always call me whenever the icons move on his phone, or he can't log into an account or something like that. And the world's coming to an end, for him. And it's like, okay, well, let's spend 10 minutes and let's get this figured out. And then we get him back in, and his life is returned to normal. So these are great little stories and just fun things that you can bring a smile to someone's face just by helping them out with some technology. Anyway, so we did find that a lot of the solutions that we needed to apply were in the home. It was related to how something was wired up, or how their internet was working with different things, or getting things connected to the internet, wireless printers, things like that were kind of a big deal. And we helped people pick computers, pick tablets, that would work for them based on their situation. Some people are snowbirds, so a desktop computer is not the way to go. So you want to think about a laptop or tablet or things like that, and then you want to fit that into your budget, right? So like an iPad is more expensive than an Android, but there's different limitations to both of them. So we do those consulting things. Managing photos has been probably our number one request across all the different ways that we've been doing things. Because we're all in the same situation, right? We all take a million photos with our phone, right? But then what do you do with them? Sometimes you look at them, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you want to keep them, sometimes you don't. But you still got to go through them all. You still got to figure out where they're going to be. Are they out in the cloud? Or what is the cloud? All these different questions, that we get related to photos, and help people consolidate their libraries into a place where they can see them. Figure out how to use like photo paper in their printer if they do want a hard copy of something. Things like that. It has been really popular. And then again, just a shout out to TechMate. We're lucky to have them out in this area. I know Dan, the owner over there, I had done some web development for him before I started with Senior Community Services, and it was kind of a no-brainer for both of us. It was a real easy, partnership. I don't necessarily like advertise the services. I don't tell anybody that they have to go to TechMate. We let them make their own decision, of course. but they do have offices, St. Michael, Buffalo, and Monticello, which is right in the heart of our service area. And what we do is we call ahead. We say, you know, so-and-so is coming to you with, this problem or that problem, please help them out. Because there are things that we just won't do. I won't replace the screen. I'm not replacing the battery in a laptop, things like that, hardware related, or, like a virus cleanup if it's really nasty. I'm not getting into that. We'll do a scan and get rid of some spyware, but if it's, really infected or somebody can't log in, that's kind of above and beyond what we say we'll do, even though we could do it, but it just takes too much time, honestly. So the folks at TechMate have been awesome. A lot of times, significant discounts and sometimes even free service for the people that we send their way if it's something relatively simple that they can handle quickly. So that's been a great partnership. And then again, the senior center portion, I want to focus on this just a little bit. And we're going to watch a video in just a second here too. And hopefully I have my audio shared properly with my screen share, but we'll find out in a minute. So, like I said, I was doing the face-to-face support at the different senior centers kind of on an appointment basis, but that quickly outpaced the amount of time that I had to do this. And we wanted to continue to do this for free, mostly just because we were funded to do it. And the experience of people coming in there was fantastic. So our volunteer coordinator then, like I said, recruited volunteers. We have awesome volunteers in both senior centers now. And so like Mary is up in Monticello, and we had, Nate Neal is taking a little bit of a break. I have two other guys now backfilling for him at Caregiver Senior Center. But Nate works at a bank, and any free time that he had, we're all working remotely, right? So he's at home, and any free, time that he had, he'd kind of shuffle things around to take appointments with people. And so we'd coordinate that with the senior center directors and with our volunteer coordinator to just take appointments, have people show up. There was no obligation to sign up for our program if it was your first time visit. But if you wanted to follow a visit, or it took an exorbitant amount of time, then we kind of suggested highly that people sign up for our program. But again, if they didn't want to, you can't make them either. So again, trying to reduce barriers to this tech support. Even though we have a lot of rules that we're supposed to work through with registration and things like that. So I want to focus a little bit more on Mary. I'm going to show you a brief video here, but you can see my bullet points on the right hand side here of what our volunteer services are. I'll get the video going here, and I think it'll speak for itself because Mary is just awesome.
So the people have been great. A lot of it is confidence building, is that, a lot of people figured so many things out for themselves, but then they have holes in what their knowledge is. And so they're just looking to fill those holes. And they might try going to, grandchildren or whatever, who sort of go poo-poo, you don't understand. It comes from giving them back their confidence, because what amazes me about the people is how much they do know, and they don't give themselves enough credit for all that they have figured out on their own. Generally what they have is a hole or two that they just need to fill. And to be truthful, most of what I run into is people wanting help with dealing with photos. That's a very common thing. How do I save this photo out of my message? My grandkids sent me a photo of a new baby. How do I forward this photo to a friend? How do I print this photo? How do I get the photos off of my storage so that I don't have to pay the monthly fee? And letting people understand that when they're holding a device in their hand, they actually might be dealing with more than one company. So they go, well, which identity do I use? Which logon do I use? Well, it depends on which company you're connecting to. And you can use the same ID and the same password, but you have to keep in your mind which company you're dealing with. And that was the one thing I found that seems to help a lot is if you separate out the companies and you talk to them more on the mechanical side. It's like learning to drive a car. You don't think of it abstractly, you think of it mechanically, and you don't worry about what's under the hood. It's like, what's in front of you that I need to deal with? And so when we get done with the meeting, I usually tell people, go back and play for a week or two. Don't come back next week. Go back and play for a couple of weeks with this device, with the new things you've learned, so you don't get too much at once. And keep in mind that cancel is your friend, so you can cancel out and look at everything. And if you have questions, make a note of it, and we'll talk about it next time, and we'll figure out what it is you were looking at. So, yeah. There's one gentleman, and you know who I'm talking about probably, and he amazes me. He's 85 years old and he does everything not on a computer, but on his phone. I have a laptop plus an extra big screen, and if I could get a second screen, I'd do it. I can't believe he can do everything on this tiny little screen device. So
it comes down to pure selfishness, to be truthful. For on my own side in doing this, it gives me a chance to get out of the house, uh, and to meet people, since we aren't. I didn't grow up exactly in Monticello. I don't know the community as well as someone who was born here, and so it gives us a chance to meet people from this area. And once in a while, I run into somebody that I know, and also make people it's that ability for me to be able to help them save their memories or deal with or lessen frustration that makes me feel good. And I go home thinking, oh, I did something good. So to be truthful, it's selfishness on my part. As much as we give to others, we also give back for ourselves, because when you give, people go, oh, thank you so much. You're so kind. But the same is true back to me. I get to hear those confirmations of my own kindness. I get to be affirmed in what I'm doing. And so there's a present back to me at the same time, whether there's going to be a whole lot more people like me that are going to be coming in now, that are just hitting the 60s and 65s, that we had a lot before. There's going to be even more, because even when I graduated from high school, was your class is the largest we've ever had, and then my sister came along, your class is the largest we've ever had, type of thing. And I see that happening now on the other end of lifespan, is if you can support those people in their homes so they don't have to come into, or even in the senior center, so that they can continue to be as much independent as possible. I mean, that's going to make a huge difference for quality of life.
So I'm probably the luckiest coordinator on the planet to have people like Mary on board with us, and I'm sure you would all agree with that. But with people like that, how can you go wrong? You know what I mean? Really offering the service to seniors. Okay, so moving along to the paid service that's in the homes. So we, again, needed to keep those costs affordable. And we've decided on a $35 an hour rate right now, which is kind of consistent with our handy person rate, which the top rate for that is $38. So we'll still be in that $35 to $40 range for quite some time. If we lost funding, even, I think we would still stick somewhere around there, which is very affordable compared to other services that may come into your home. I mean, you get started at $50 an hour and you go up from there, depending upon the service that you that you call. And a lot of these tech support folks, they don't want to go in homes. The money's just not there. There's a lot of overhead involved. You have to have a van, you have to have a lot of materials and bring them with you. Safety is a concern. A lot of commercial entities are good with safety in their own space, but not so much with anybody that might go out into the world. I think the Geek Squad does a decent job, but they're probably the main one around the area. But again, they're kind of expensive. And I don't know if anybody on here has used Geek Squad, but sometimes they hit it on the head and sometimes they don't. And when in the times that they don't, they're hard to deal with, in all honesty. And, our program is, same kind of thing, just a phone call away. They can just call me and, say what the problem is. And, we'll just continue to work with them. And if there's something that we did wrong or didn't, understand the first time, then we just won't charge them for the follow-up visit. So again, like I said, we've hired some individuals specifically for this in-home service. And we've also empowered all of our staff, no matter what their role is. If they're someone who mows lawn or someone who does handy person services, whatever their role is, if they're in the home and somebody asks a question about technology, they're fully empowered to offer support, help somebody out with their own time. We pay them for their time. If it's something, kind of above and beyond what their normal hour of service or whatever that might be is, we'll make sure our person gets paid, but we don't charge the senior. So we're trying to be as flexible as possible. And what we have just found, and we did some research nationwide actually, is that there's really no other agency giving that in-home service or providing the wide variety of options that we are offering through this service here too. And so we're trying now to work on primarily with guardian angels and a little bit with the legacy in St. Michael too, to look how we can bring this into some of the senior living facilities around the area, where funding is always the question mark, right? So we're trying, and each facility is different. Some of them have budgets, some don't. So we're going to have probably a mix of how it's going to work out. You know, some places may be like on an hourly paid basis for one of our paid people to sit there. Others might give us a yearly stipend, you know, small amount of money to, you know, just have the ability to park a volunteer there on a, you know, on a routine basis, and then take appointments, you know, like we do in the senior centers and things like that. So that part is still a little bit out there to gel yet, but we're definitely, you know, we're not sitting on our hands here. We're looking, you know, out into other creative ways to bring this to seniors and others in the area here. So because it's that popular and that important, I guess, is what we've kind of found out through our pilot. So we're still learning all kinds of stuff as people, you know, bring different things to us. The first bullet point here is something that's interesting to me because you know, being, you know, even with my family here, I'm the tech guy, right? So I've got really cool, what I think is really cool, you know, like stereo and TV and, you know, all these multimedia systems, right? If the power goes out and I'm not around, I don't know that my wife would even know how to turn the stuff on, right? So it's not because she's dumb. She's not dumb. She's brilliant, right? But it's just like, okay, what's this crazy contraption that Joe built, you know, kind of thing. So what happens then is if the husband dies first, then you've got a widower then in the home that has no idea how to run any of these things, right? Or even reprogram a multi-remote to, you know, control a multimedia system or something like that. So we've actually had quite a few of those situations pop up where we have to go in and, you know, kind of demystify what was installed in the home. Maybe sometimes even kind of rewire some things that maybe weren't, you know, done the right way to start with, and then, you know, retrain not only ourselves but also the, you know, the gal there that is in the home then, so that she can enjoy what was put in. You know, why take it all out? That doesn't make any sense. Might as well just make it work for her. That was just a really interesting thing that we discovered that I was not anticipating. There was even a gentleman that brought in a reel-to-reel tape deck, believe it or not, and he's like, "You deal with technology, right?" I was like, "Yeah, but what do you got here?" And he's like, "Well, this is a piece of technology." I'm like, "Actually, you're right." So the reason he wanted it looked at and fixed is it needed a belt, right? And he had old reel tapes of his daughters when they were tiny, and so he just wanted to hear those voices again. So we tore it all apart, you know, got the old belt out. He went and found a belt, brought it back to me like 2-3 weeks later. We put the belt back in and we got the darn thing around, and he was able to hear his daughters again. So that was pretty fun, actually. But outside of tape decks and things like that, you know, like I said, the photos thing, smartphones are huge because a lot of folks now are doing consumer cellular. You know, like Mary said there too. She's got one gentleman. And I do know who that is, but I'm not going to say that in this meeting, obviously. But she's right. I mean, that's his world is in that little, you know, the screen on his Android, and it's consumer cellular, so it's affordable for him. But that, you know, is something that we're finding a lot too. People are buying these or being gifted them, which is a very unique thing. A lot of families will gift, you know, the senior in their life, you know, a device. Then that's when the problems start. It's not when the solutions start, right? So then they're like, well, thanks. And then, you know, family leaves and they're like, now what? You know, and then it goes into a drawer and, you know, and they don't ever use it because they don't know how, right? So that's where we kind of come in and maybe they can bring it to the senior center, learn how to use it a little bit, or we'll go to the homes if there's a, you know, a mobility challenge or something like that. And then of course, finding, you can have all the devices in the world, but if you're not connected well, or anything like that, or you don't know where to go, then the experience is very limited, right? So we also, like I mentioned in one of the first slides, we got some funding to put together a website, mnseniorcenters.org, which has a lot of what we consider safe content in a lot of different areas. We have videos posted right in there, embedded in different areas. There's a lot of fun activities for folks to do. You know, there's exercises, health and wellness kinds of things. So it's a whole like virtual programs area within there. There's calendars for events around the area. We will, you know, put like CMCOA events and other events on there too. So if you guys have anything that you want us to put on there, let us know. And we'll get that out for you too. So let's see here. What have I got going on? I'm sorry, I'm kind of rambling on. I'm not even paying attention to my own slides here. The Zoom and Facebook and Duo, the video conferencing, that's huge, especially now that we're going to winter. A lot of folks are snowbirding again, right? Now that they can get out of the state and travel restrictions are a little bit loosened, but they want to still be connected with the people that they were talking to and interfacing with, when they left, right? So let's say you're part of a knitting group. Well, nothing's stopping you from knitting in your home in Arizona with the group if you have Zoom, right? And you can still, because really, let's just be honest, it's all about gossip, right? In a group like that, right? So then you can see the people that you are interfacing with. You can tell the stories that you got on your mind. You can talk politics, religion, whatever the heck you want to, all that kind of stuff, and just do it, with the whole same group of people, but do it from wherever you are at. And I think that's one of the biggest things that people have realized, that geography evaporates. Really, we've even connected folks with people that live like overseas, that they haven't connected with in several years. So like, really, I can talk to somebody. Do they have Zoom in England? Was actually a question that I was asked. I was like, everybody has Zoom, okay? So it doesn't matter where they are. You just got to figure out the time difference and then figure out how to connect with each other once you figure out that stuff. So that's really been really super fun to kind of get people used to using that. And then we do through the website and other places there too. We encourage more participation with the senior centers and other agencies and other events around the area. It's just a great tool to use to help people keep engaged. And again, that cost piece with the low income folks. When we were in our Live at Home grant period, and I'm actually, that picture there is me sitting at the desk I'm sitting at right now with all and you can't see the phone behind me or the Android behind me there either, but I had all kinds of different computers up just so I could make sure, because I had questions on a lot of different devices. But we did training on Zoom specifically from November through July 2021, and we'll probably be picking that up again here in 2022, because I've had some folks come back and say, what happened to the Zoom thing? We really need that back. And now with the cold weather coming again, I think that's a good idea to get back on that. But it's a really fun environment. It was just, I don't know if any of you on here attended any of those sessions or not, but we didn't really make it classroom-like. I mean, I had like an outline of things I went through to make sure we hit all the bullet points of what Zoom can and can't do. But we had fun with it, and it was really fun there was one session where I think there was like 20 of us on there. This gal couldn't get her video working at all. And so, we tried to kind of help her, as we're getting going. I'm like, well, I got to move on. I hope it works out. And I don't know, it was like 5-10 minutes later into the meeting, and all of a sudden she shows up on the screen. Everybody like starts clapping and applauding for her, like, yay, you did it, kind of thing. So we were all there to kind of support each other with all that kind of stuff. And again, the peer-to-peer thing was really important, to know that there's others out there that are struggling with the same things that you are, and it's really not that big of a deal. No one's going to die. You're not going to break anything. It's just a matter of trying to understand how to use it effectively, kind of thing. And so like, we even got into the background images and the filters and stuff like that. That was super fun. And again, all the different types of devices that people were accessing it from, because I think a lot of folks didn't realize, how different the different platforms are. Because on an Android, the software is completely different, than from like an iPhone, for example. So here's a great Miss B, as I call her. She's just fantastic. I love this woman, but she's in her 90s, and she wanted to know how to get groceries online. Her daughter would deliver them for her, but she's just like, I don't want to have to wait for her, right? So it's like, all right, well, let's figure this out. So she had an Android tablet, and we got her hooked up with Coburn's Delivers. And then that wasn't good enough. Then she's like, well, now, show me how to, do some cribbage. I want to understand my email a little bit better. I want to be able to do video calls, all this kind of stuff. So just ordering some groceries quickly turned into all kinds of stuff for Miss B. As you can see on the right there, we were playing around with the filters on her Android tablet. She had a lot of fun with that. And on the follow-up visit to where that picture was taken, when I came back and talked to her, she's like, now show me how to do those crazy puppy faces again. Okay, well, here we go. So anyway, so she's just fantastic, and it's just a really great example of how we have helped some folks by coming. She had mobility challenges. She can't get out of the house, right? So not only was it an entertainment thing for her, it was also basic functionality. The food that we've all talked about on these meetings and things like that. I mean, it was important to make sure that she didn't do that and feel independent and not dependent on her daughter or anyone else to get food if she was in a pinch and needed to get something delivered to her home. So that's where it really, the rubber hits the road right there, and getting that, the food ordering has really been a popular thing too. And then that is a companion piece then to our housekeepers, because our housekeepers can run errands, right? So then if they know that an order is waiting at, whatever store it is, they'll pick it up on the way. they'll bring it to the home, they'll put all the groceries away as their first task of their housekeeping visit. So we try to embed all of this, into some of the other core services that we do for the chore stuff. Because I mean, on the surface, I mean, let's just all be honest with each other. I mean, the chore stuff is kind of generic. There's a lot of different places that do it, right? But if we can kind of make it fun and integrate it with some of these other services, that's how we see our, maybe that's our advantage in the marketplace here. Okay, so actually, let's see how much battery I have left. Looks like my laptop is going into battery saver. Well, hang on just a second. I'm sorry to do this. Of course, the technology guy has technology problems, right? Isn't it?
So ironic.
And so simple too. It's like, just plug it in, Joe. I never do that. I always just go.
I'll tell you a story, Joe, while you're getting that stuff figured out.
All right.
This was years ago.
Yeah.
This was years ago, but I used to teach a class through Buffalo Community Ed. It was an iPhone class.
Okay.
And like it was actually how to use your smartphone is what it was. And like the first one I ever did was full. And it was amazing, the seniors that were in the class, they were teaching me stuff. And even like when you walk around this building, like seeing seniors on their smartphones, using their smartphones, it's really cool. Because like working in the same type of building back in high school, times have changed. People were definitely not on a smartphone sitting in the hall. So it's kind of cool. It's really cool.
Yeah. Well, if you're interested in doing presentations for us, look me up, because we're always looking for presenters and educators. So
yeah,
that'd be great.
I think you guys should offer just a class, like, because like, I don't know if you do much with community ed here in Buffalo, but they have a really good class schedule. And I think just even offering, well, you got the tech support, which would be an amazing class. I think that would be full. And then online grocery shopping, because that is life-changing. Online grocery shopping is life-changing. It really is. And it's like to teach seniors how to do that, like through Buffalo Community Ed, because it goes out to over 15,000 people. So you get the distribution there. It's free. Whatever you charge for the class, Buffalo Community Ed keeps half. That's how their structure works. So you can price it any way you want. And I think it would be huge. And it would be huge.
I think that's a great idea.
It would be a good lead source for you too.
Well, and I mean, we're always interested in helping more people, but just getting that message out, I think, is the most important thing. As you can see from the presentation here, we're still fledgling. Even though we've been going for a while, it's really, we're just starting to get a little air under our wings with this whole thing. So no, I love all these ideas, and we'll probably reach out to them then over there and see if there's any opportunities to pair with them and what that looks like.
They'd love it. They would love it.
Yeah, because like this slide shows here, we've got that's the gentleman I mentioned who's turning 80 here. He's very happy to do the iPad classes, and again, those iPads were purchased with the Allianz donated funds. We got 45 of them. We put 15 in each senior center, and we have the Gillespie Center as an affiliated senior center too down in Mound. So that's not getting a mention in here because they're just not in my service area. But that was how those got distributed. Again, we're doing some planning here for the fraud presentations here, January, February. But the other big thing, and you can kind of see a screenshot of it over there on the right hand side. It's more of a shot from the website. But we took the time, and it took a lot of time, I got to be honest with you, to put together our resources page for older adults, right? And so it's literally a self-help area and then of course, if you have more questions, then you contact us. It's available to anybody that can get online, right? So there's really no age restrictions or geographic restrictions. And it starts with, what is the internet, right? As we start that, basically, like, what the heck, what am I getting myself into, right? And then we go into phones, TVs, different kinds of computers, what's best for me, what are some low cost or free options that are out there, because there are a lot of programs. Xfinity has one, State has one, Minneapolis has one. So we link to all these different programs that people can look at to get low cost or reduced cost internet access and devices and things like that too out there. So, again, just trying to get more information out as much as we can. There's a lot of bullet points on there. Each bullet point averaged about 20 to 30 minutes to compile it. So if you do visit that page, you'll see there's a lot of bullet points, and it took a lot of time to put it all together. But I do encourage you to go there and just, because there's a lot of stuff that you can, just send the link to people and just say, hey, check this out. This will help you out, and maybe answer all of your own questions without having to call anybody or talk to family or whatever that might be. Especially now that it's kind of gift giving season, it's a good way for folks to kind of prep themselves for what do I really want, or what do I want to ask for Christmas or whatever might be their case, and then go from there. So again, we're back to the Minnesota Senior Centers, the safe content, safe, fun, and relevant content, as I say there in the header. It's very important to get folks to at least a starting spot if they've never really been on the internet. And we've got some bullet points with different things. What do we got on there? Virtual tours, health and wellness, fun and games, videos, books, and creativity and crafts. Even have Bob Ross videos on there, and I love Bob Ross. So there you go, happy little tree, right?
Very relaxing. Very relaxing.
But it's also, we got the calendars on there too. So the senior centers can put a lot of events on there. People can just literally just click on the event and then see whether it's a Zoom link or if they got to pre-register and what costs might be involved if there is something they need to pay for. And again, if anybody on this call has any events coming up that you want listed on these calendars, just send them our way. We're happy to put them out there. It's kind of a community thing. We've done a lot of stuff with Whitney, put their programs out there, and vice versa. So we're just, again, trying to partner with as many people as we can to get as much stuff as we can in one spot for people, because if they're going there, well, then we might as well have it there, right? And a lot of organizations have like a separate calendaring system that sometimes you got to log into and things like that. So it's just easier for us to then just put a quick event on this calendar for people to see and to be able to go to. So in summary, I guess, free support for our participants by phone, and the one-on-one the senior centers. We do the in-home at what hopefully everybody here considers a reasonable fee. We're looking at training and more education, and we got a good indication from Sherburne County actually last night that we will be considered for additional funding there too. We're not sure what that's going to look like. Our main service area there is Elk River and Big Lake, but they may be asking us to provide that phone support for more of a county-wide kind of thing, and we're up for that. It'll be kind of tough if we can't get into the homes, but we'll see where that all leads to. So the next thing I want to go over here real quick is our careaction.org website. We revamped it recently, and Crystal Webush is the social worker that did it, or led the project, I should say. I got involved on the technology side of things. But this is a really great tool for anybody that's caring for a senior. It's kind of like it's modeled after Caring Bridge, but obviously a different mindset. It's not for intensive healthcare situation. It's more for just day-to-day routine task care for seniors. So it's not just for seniors, I should say that too. It's for any age group. So anybody that needs care, this is a great way to form a team, put events in there, things like that, things that need to be done. In my case, my parents live in Rice County down in Northfield, right? So, and there's only one of my brothers that's close by, and myself and my other brother kind of feel, we want to help, we want to be there, but we're a little detached geographically, right? So this is a great way then that we can see, hey, Dad's got an appointment coming up, does somebody have a ride, for him? Does he need a ride? Is he going to go there himself? Who's going to check on him afterwards to make sure he got there, he actually went to the doctor, things like that. So this is a great way to kind of check on all that stuff. And again, it's free for everybody and anybody. You can create your own care team. I think a lot of folks on this call would either use it themselves or, for someone that they might work with. And these are just screenshots of some of the different things that are in here. Now, there's a resource center in there, kind of akin to the minnesotahelp.info website, but just more for, honestly, it's more tuned for Hennepin County than it is for Wright County, but, the resources are in there for different things. There's a lot of different areas that they cover and that we promote within the website, of course. And you can see there all the different things that Crystal kind of discusses with people if they have questions for her. So it's real easy to get in. You just basically create your account, and then as the main account holder, then you can invite family and other folks to be part of the care team to coordinate everything. And so this is a glimpse here of like after you would log in, you can either create another team for someone else, or otherwise, Crystal has a couple different teams in here for Uncle John and Grandma Millie that honestly were just test care teams that I was part of. But it shows you too that you're not just limited to one care team. So if you are a care provider for several individuals, then you can have more than one account in there, or team in there, excuse me, under your one account. Again, some of the basic information that you would be filling out when you're setting up, the care team and the person receiving the care. And then this is kind of a glimpse into what the task list would be and who your members are, things like that. And you can add tasks in there, delete tasks, take over a task from somebody. You can see what is not assigned yet, of course, and then grab one of those if you want to, or just know that it's not being assigned yet. And this is a pop-up of what that looks like. It's super simple to do. I mean, seriously, it's so easy to add stuff. And then this is kind of the calendar view then of what a person's month or week might look like then, based off of what they got going on. Some more screenshots here. Here's the care team for Grandma Millie, just a different way to look at it. This is the journal view. So you can put more detail in here, kind of almost tell a little mini story about what might be going on. And then if maybe Millie's not part of the care team, maybe she doesn't look at this. So then if that's the case, then you can even share some details that maybe Millie wouldn't want you to share, but you need to share anyway, kind of thing with the other folks on the care team. So it's kind of a nice way to just kind of keep that all somewhat private, confidential as well. And each care team is locked within the database, so there's no spillage of data over, and it's quite the system they built, and it costs a lot of money to put this website together just because of those HIPAA and other requirements for privacy. And this screenshot just shows you a little bit closer view of if you did click on one of those journal entries and what the pop-up would look like. Then of course you can reply to these things. Some of the other features here, and I apologize, I'm not the expert here on the careinaction.org website. It was just it's part of our presentation, but Crystal really knows this thing back and forth like the back of her hand. So if you do have more questions about it, I encourage you to maybe even do a test team in there, and then contact Crystal with additional questions you might have. And then our social workers then can be accessed through the tool as well. I believe there's some fees for some of the services, but the low-income folks, obviously, there wouldn't be anything like that. And I believe that if there's just some quick questions and things like that, I believe all that support is for free from our social work staff. Oops, sorry. Anyone on the care team uses the site? Oh yeah, and it's also teamed up with an app, which is awesome. That's the old site didn't do that. So all you do is see the website on your phone. This actually takes on a whole different view. The way that it was programmed to use the same database for the app and for the website, right? So any changes that are made on the app are automatically live updated in the website. There's no delay in time. There's no you got to wait for a batch process at midnight or anything like that for this stuff to pop up. So it doesn't matter if you're on a phone, tablet, using a laptop or desktop, whatever you're using, everything's all integrated in the same database, which is great. And that's really the biggest, I'd say, news to this project and the relaunch of this website. More detail here on what's some of the stuff will look like on your phone. These are 3 different screenshots off of an iPhone. So you can choose your notifications. You can turn them all off. You can turn them all on, however you want to do it. You can see a quick view of some of the different tasks. And then again, some more detail then on what some of these tasks might look like if you're looking at them specifically. So again, it's careinaction.org, or they are available on the Apple and Google Play Store, Apple App Store and Google Play Store. And then our CareInAction number is right there. That's 612-770-7005. So that is the essence of my presentation. I don't know if I took too much time or not enough time or what, and I'm sorry I ran out of power, but I did get it plugged back in, so we're good to go.
That was perfect. That app looks amazing. That
the
is
CareInAction.
very cool because communication is always the hardest thing when you're working with multiple family members. I mean, it's so hard. I was just thinking about a gentleman I gave a tour to last night, and he was telling me stories about family dynamics and communication and this and that. That would have solved every problem that they had.
That's actually something that Crystal highlighted when she did the presentation at our Reimagine Aging conference, is that she was actually specifically working with a family that didn't get along at all. And and so it was a way to engage. There was 2 brothers that were, at least from the person she was working with, they were the problem. I don't know if it was them or her or whatever, but so both of them then started actually helping out, because the perception of these 2 guys was that they weren't doing anything, right?
Yeah,
and it
same thing,
that,
same story.
right. It wasn't that they didn't want to; they just didn't want to engage with their siblings. That's really what it came down to.
Yeah,
So then
that's
they-
very similar to this story too, like, cause
Yeah.
this one gentleman was in charge of the finances, yet his sister was doing some things that were financy, that like applying for SNAP or whatever, and he didn't know anything about it. If they have this tool, and plus they have some siblings that are far away, huge,
Yep.
really cool.
It's a great way to engage folks. Okay, so what have I got here? Oh, Ben, thanks. That's a nice little thank you. And Melinda wanted to visit with me. Okay. Yeah, Melinda, we can follow up after this meeting then, and we can maybe get something going here. Joyce at Technology. Yeah, thanks, Heather.
I do have a question,
Okay.
real quick, in regards to seniors who may have some eyesight challenges or audio challenges. What have you experienced as far as a solution or options for them?
That's a great question. And so, like iOS 15 in particular, and the newer versions of Android as well, have a lot of accessibility functionality built into them that people don't even know about necessarily, right? So then we try to show them, like your iPhone, you can use it as a magnifying glass, or lens, and you can go up to, I think it's like up to 40 times zoom. It's just insane, how much you can zoom in with that device. And then tablets, of course, same thing if they're on the newer iOS. So we work at it two ways. We work at it not only from the technology side of what can your device do for you, how can we increase font size, icons, things like that, if it's a desktop or laptop unit, so you can see them better. Or we've been working with Stacy a little bit over at the state, and she's given us the vision kits. Actually, the gal, I don't know if you guys have seen those vision kits, but there's part of it is a little orange dot, right? So you can, the idea is like maybe put it like on the 5 on the microwave, right? So always know where the middle, is, or maybe the start button or whatever it is, right? So I actually put one of these dots on her screen because she wanted to know where the Gmail button was when she pulled up, her Chrome browser, right? And so we set it to automatically log into her Google account, right? But then she couldn't see because it's just plain text, is a link, it just says Gmail, right? So we put the dot right over where it says Gmail. And so then she knows that she got to move her mouse up by that dot and try and click it. Now, seeing the mouse is a challenge too, so she's got to kind of roll that back and forth a little bit. But then the other side of it, then, like I said, we had, I got trained, I guess, for lack of a better term, from Stacy, I don't recall her last name, but the state who was in charge of vision experiences for seniors. And she sent me a kit with everything from sunglasses to, a big, a timer dial, for, people that can't see all that well. Magnifying glasses, different things like that. So we'll see if any of those tools that she gave us in that kit work for the person too. It is challenging, to especially with vision. I mean, audio, you can, do Bluetooth through hearing aids, things like that, which is really awesome nowadays. And so if they don't have the Bluetooth hearing aids, then different ways we can do things. Get them used to a good set of headphones, or get decent amplification, because the speaker in a computer is usually not adequate enough to give intelligibility to speech. So we frequently get stuff donated to us, whether those are small speaker systems or the computers themselves or mice or whatever. And so if we have something, we'll just give it back. When the pandemic started, we, part of our grant money that we got, we had to turn our entire organization mobile. So that shuffled out quite a few laptops and older desktops, right, that were just not adequate for our use anymore. So we've given them all away. I think we've given away 12 or 13 systems at this point. Free computers, I mean, how can you, balk at that? Doesn't, that doesn't really answer your accessibility question, but, just, showing that it's like, hey, we'll take anything that we have and donate it back into the community. We're not here to try and cash in on this by any means. We do want to make sure that people have what they need. And for someone like me, I want an i7 or i9 processor, and I want all the RAM and all this kind of stuff. But for someone who just wants to zoom into Christmas one time a year, having something that works for that, they don't care what's under the hood. Kind of back to Mary, our volunteers point, when you're driving a car, you don't worry about what the engine or the transmission is, right? You just know where the go pedal is and where the stop pedal is, and that's really all you need to know. Steering, of course, but those basic things are things that we try and work with. But again, we don't want to outpace the knowledge level of anybody either, because if you give them too much of a machine, then they're not going to know how to use it. And then again, it's going to go in the drawer and it's never going to get used. So they go hand in hand. We talked about internet access first, then we talk about a device, then we talk about the content. So, and then depending upon where they are in that equation is where we step in to help them.
Very cool. All right, does anybody else have any other questions? All right, I think we're good. That was a really great presentation, Joe.
Oh,
A
thank
lot
you.
of good information. So I did record this, so I'm gonna go out. I think what I'll do, we have like a YouTube channel, I'll put it on, and then I think I'm just gonna put it on Lake Ridge's and Parkview's blogs as well. I'll do a little write-up, put a link to the video, so you guys will have it there if you ever want to share it out to anybody, download it or whatever you want to do. And then, yeah, that was awesome information. You guys do amazing work.
Oh, thank you. And you have the Brad
Welcome.
Pitt filter on that, right? So you can make my face look like Brad Pitt instead.
I know I could use some technology training myself. I don't use filters to their full ability, that's for sure.
Well, Joe,
I
you
like
got
your
the good
background.
hair. See, you're okay.
Oh yeah, so I'm fine. Yeah.
Oh man. All right, if nobody has anything else, we can wrap up.
There's my halo.
Look
Here's my
at that. That's hilarious.
I love it. I love it.
I'll stop.
Oh man. I know I need to get better at Zoom too, like with the backgrounds and stuff. I've definitely not played around. Because it would
There's a
be
lot of
cool
fun
to
stuff.
like, if you're promoting something, I mean, you could do like, can you do like a title slide too? Like stuff like that?
On
Like
your
if
Zoom
I-
background,
Yeah, on my background.
you can have it be whatever you want. I mean, you can see mine. You know, it's
Mhm.
we're just our brand, and anybody. It's not mandatory when you're doing a presentation to use this background, but it's kind of become a standard for our
Mhm.
staff. And like
Yeah.
you can see, Eric there has the blur, you know, going on with his background. You know, so you know,
Yep.
anything that you can do to kind of, you know, I mean, love looking inside everyone's home here. You know what I mean? But you know,
Yeah.
maybe you want to.
Here's mine.
Oh,
She's
can I
on
join you,
vacation.
Melinda?
She loves us so much that she zoomed in on vacation.
Wow, that's dedication. I'll tell you.
Now go jump in the water in front of us. Oh.
There's the challenge, right? No, I
Yeah,
encourage you to play around with it.
that's a really cool background you have. That's perfect.
Because the more stuff you find out in there, you know, what we're encouraging all our employees to do is play around with these different technologies. Because the more that they learn themselves, the more they'll be able to impart to other people, right? And they
Yeah.
have fun doing it too, you know. And like I said, you can't really break it, you know. And
Right.
I've even told seniors, like, your job is to break it, my job is to fix it, you know. So you go right ahead and see if you can't outpace me, you know, kind of thing. And so a lot of them accept that challenge, and I haven't had anybody come back and say I broke it and you can't fix it yet. So so far so good.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. Well, if you guys need any help with anything, you definitely let any one of us know. That's what we're here. We're here for each other. And then I'll start working on planning for January. That's our next meeting. Is there anybody else you guys want to hear from? I know we have Wright County senior services on there, like Medicaid, things like that. We're going to hear from Habitat for Humanity Senior Services down the road here. Is there anybody else that you want me to contact or that you're interested in learning more from?
Nothing comes to mind at the moment, but if we do, we'll just send you an email.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Jumping back to that whole community center thing, once they're further down the road a little bit, I'll follow along, see what they're up to. And if it sounds like it's going to happen and senior center will be in development, I'll definitely probably invite somebody on to talk to us about what they're envisioning and all those things. So that'll be really fun. All right,
That'll be
cool.
really exciting.
Yeah, it is. It's awesome. Awesome. All right, you guys, you have a good day. We'll talk to you soon.
You too.
Bye. Thanks for everything.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Courtney.
Joe.
Take care, you guys.
Yep.
Bye. Thanks, Joe.
Bye.
Bye.